Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. A single human warship appears, and the Galactic Empire lost its mind. Captain Livia Corrin stood on the bridge of the Imperial frigate Aurora, her gaze fixed on the countless stars beyond the viewport. The soft hum of the ship's engines was a comforting presence she had known for more than a decade. Yet tonight, an uneasy tension clung to the air. Lieutenant Pavan Rai, Corrin's senior sensor officer, hovered at the console, his fingers dancing over controls as he sought clarity in the data streams. Captain, Rai said in a low voice, I'm picking up an anomaly just outside the orbital perimeter. No heat signature, no drive wake, nothing conventional. Corrin's heart quickened. Show me. Within moments, millions of data points resolved into a simple silhouette on the main viewer, a dark, angular hull outlined against the gas giant below. It was almost twice the size of their frigate, and its design bore no markings of the Galactic Empire. Identify the class, Corrin ordered. Rai's hands moved faster. I don't have any registry that matches. Its profile resembles ancient human warships, designs that were last catalogued over 2 centuries ago. A tense silence fell. Humans had been all but eradicated in the old wars, their home world destroyed, their fleets defeated. Their memory lingered as myth and cautionary tale. Can you confirm, Corrin asked quietly. 98% match to archived human design, Rai replied. But their technology has evolved. This ship's energy output is far beyond what any known human blueprints predicted. The bridge fell into stunned silence as the crew absorbed the implications. Corrin raised her voice to steady her own resolve. Hail the vessel, subspace comms, standard Imperial channel. Rai hesitated. They're not responding, Captain. Try every frequency, Corrin said. Make it clear we do not intend hostility yet. Outside, the mysterious vessel remained motionless, as though studying the planet below. Corrin pressed her palms against the cool railing, reminding herself of her duty to protect Celestia Prime, the sparkling jewel of this sector. Behind her, stoic Officer Joran Malik watched with narrowed eyes, ready for any order. Several minutes passed without response. Finally, a faint ripple in the viewscreen signaled a new transmission. Corrin straightened her uniform and faced the display. A man's face filled the screen, weathered but resolute, hair silver at the temples, eyes burning with quiet intensity. Below him, text scrolled in perfect Imperial standard. We remember you tried to erase us. We have returned to claim our place among the stars. A collective gasp echoed through the bridge. Lieutenant Rai's voice trembled as he translated the human's words into the ship's logs. Corrin fought the surge of fear, forcing calm into her tone. Message received and acknowledged, she replied. We request you identify yourselves and state your intentions. The human's face flickered, replaced by footage, human cruisers bombarding cities, vast fleets casting fire across worlds. Corrin felt a chill as the images invoked both horror and shame. She had studied Imperial history, the tales of humanity's fall and the Empire's rise. Never had she confronted such raw proof of forgotten atrocities. The transmission ended as abruptly as it began. The bridge lights returned to their normal glow, but Corrin sensed an irreversible shift in the Empire's destiny. She turned to Rai. Raise condition Omega. Summon the Admiralty, prepare to defend the orbit, but hold all fire until further orders. As alarms chimed and crew members scrambled, she allowed herself a moment of reflection. The Ilios, the human vessel, floated like a shadow of the past, challenging every certainty the Empire had built. Captain Livia Corrin knew this was no routine encounter. The appearance of a single human warship had ignited a spark that would consume tradition, politics, and perhaps the very soul of the Galactic Empire. And as the Aurora swept into defensive formation around Celestia Prime, Corrin resolved to meet this challenge with every ounce of her courage. The Empire had lost its mind, but she would not lose her own. Grand Admiral Titus Rowe paced the length of the council chamber aboard the orbital station Nightingale, his polished boots clicking against the obsidian floor. The vast window behind him framed Celestia Prime's swirling clouds, a reminder of the stakes at hand. The summons had been urgent. Every high-ranking officer, minister, and envoy was to attend an emergency session within the hour. Whispers of human resurgence had spread like wildfire through the Imperial ranks, and now Rowe felt the weight of centuries pressing upon him. At the center of the chamber, a circular dais bore the Imperial seal. High ministers and military leaders gathered around, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the hollow table. Envoy Silas Vento hovered near the edge, his lean frame draped in diplomatic robes of midnight blue. His calm green eyes scanned the room, nodding every expression of fear, anger, or doubt. "We cannot allow panic to guide our actions," Vento began, his voice steady but urgent. "We do not yet know the humans' true intent. They may be testing us or they may seek dialogue. We must remain level-headed." From the opposite side, War Minister Selikar slammed her gauntleted fist on the dais. Her voice boomed, echoing off the chamber walls. "Testing us? Dialogue? These so-called humans nearly destroyed everything we built. They deserve no mercy. We strike at dawn and wipe this threat from existence." Rowe held up a gloved hand. "Minister Carr, with respect, any attack carries grave risk. Their vessel outclasses our frigates and our weapons may not even breach their shields. Rash action could lead to a full-scale disaster." Carr's amber eyes blazed. "And inaction invites them to pick us apart. Do you recall the tales of the Great Purge? They fought like demons, even when cornered. We cannot underestimate them again." A murmur of agreement rippled through the gathered officers. The air crackled with tension. Rowe turned to General Yana Kaspar, commander of the Orbital Defense Grid. "General, status report on the perimeter defenses." Kaspar, her silver hair tied back in a severe knot, tapped a datapad. "All platforms are at condition red. Shield generators are running at maximum output. Interceptor squadrons are on standby, though their munitions may prove ineffective against the Ilios." Vento stepped forward, raising a slender hand. "I propose a two-pronged approach. First, we extend an open channel to the human vessel, conveying our willingness to discuss. Second, we discreetly dispatch a reconnaissance frigate under orders to gather intel on their capabilities. We buy time for a measured response." The chamber erupted anew. Some ministers nodded in cautious approval, while hawkish officers sneered at the suggestion of diplomacy. Rowe recognized the familiar pattern: fear-driven ambition versus reasoned caution. At that moment, a clerk hurried to the dais, bearing an encrypted communique. Rowe accepted it and scanned its contents, his brow furrowed. "This message is from the planetary governor. They report civilian unrest on the surface. Crowds are gathering in protest, chanting for action against the humans. They fear that any delay threatens their lives." Kaspar frowned. "If the populace demands war, the council will face severe backlash for appearing weak." Vento glanced upward. Fear and anger have always been the easiest sentiments to harness. Does the Empire truly wish to be ruled by panic? Rowe folded the communique. "We must show strength through wisdom, not brute force." He turned to General Kaspar. "Reinforce surface security but keep troops in reserve, no overt aggression." Minister Carr's lips curled in contempt. "You would sacrifice the Empire's honor for the sake of talk. You betray our ideals." Rowe's voice dropped but remained composed. "My duty is to preserve the Empire and its people. If that includes negotiation, so be it. Now, Envoy Vento, prepare your communique. General, ready that frigate for a covert mission. We launch in 2 hours." Carr's glare could have melted steel, but she said nothing. The council fell silent, each member processing this unexpected middle path. As preparations began, Vento approached Rowe quietly. "You have made powerful enemies today, but you also gained vital allies among those who value caution." Rowe nodded. "We will need every one of them, and we will need information. Do you believe the humans truly desire peace?" Vento hesitated. "I cannot say, but their initial broadcast spoke of remembrance and repayment of debt. That suggests a demand for recognition more than conquest, yet we know little of their condition now." Rowe placed a hand on Vento's shoulder. "Then we learn and we survive." In the docking bay below, Lieutenant Pavan Rai and Engineer Neera Kellen waited by the stealth frigate Spectre. Its hull was painted in low-visibility gray, and its sensor arrays were modified for long-range scanning. Neera's slender fingers checked a portable archive module, while Rai adjusted the ship's targeting dampeners. "You ready for this?" Neera asked, her dark eyes reflecting both excitement and nervousness. Rai nodded. "It feels like venturing into history's shadow. We might be the first Imperial crew to meet a human since the Purge." Neera inhaled sharply, "Or we could be the last if things go south." Rai offered a half-smile. "Then we do our best for the Empire." Neera tapped the archive module, "And for the truths." They boarded the Spectre as the chamber's decisions rippled through Imperial command. Above them, the humans waited, silent and inscrutable. The next hours would determine not only the fate of Celestia Prime, but the future of every world under Imperial rule. As the Spectre launched into the inky void, its dark silhouette slipping past the defense grid, Corrin's earlier orders echoed in their minds. Hold fire until further notice. In that tense calm, both sides prepared for contact that could shatter the Empire, or redefine it forever. Dr. Selva Imran pressed her palm against the cool metal of the hidden archive vault, every nerve in her body alight with anticipation. She had spent years collecting rumors of forbidden records, fragments of human history locked away by imperial decree. Now, with Lieutenant Pavan Rai and engineer Neera Kellen at her side, she stood on the threshold of truth. Security override in place, Neera whispered, fingers dancing over the portable console. The small device emitted a soft beep, then the vault door slid open with a hiss. They slipped inside. The room was dimly lit by a single strip of white light overhead. Rows of data crystals glowed gently in racks along the walls. Selva's breath caught as she approached the first shelf. These crystals contain unfiltered logs from Earth's final months, she said, voice trembling. We may finally learn what really happened. Ryan nodded, eyes bright. I've been authorized to retrieve only surface readings. This is beyond official clearance. Then we must work quickly, Selva replied. The Council's decision on our response is imminent. We need evidence to support any diplomatic approach. Neera placed the archive module under the nearest rack. She detached a crystal and inserted it into the reader. Streams of data scrolled across the handheld display. Images of burning cities, of desperate crowds fleeing, flickered and then froze on the screen. Rice swallowed hard. They show orbital bombardment. Did the Empire really order this? Selva's dark eyes glistened with unshed tears. These logs suggest a coordinated campaign, Confederation cruisers firing on civilian centers, coded under Operation Purify. They document billions of lives lost within weeks. Why hide this? Neera asked, voice barely more than a whisper. Because admitting the truth would shatter the Empire's moral foundation, Selva said. But if we cannot hide from our past, we must at least face it. Humanity's reappearance demands accountability. Rai tapped the display. Look, these entries mention sleeper cells, children genetically altered to pass as Imperial citizens. Selva, remember what Grand Admiral Rowe said about covert ops. Selva's heart pounded. The sleeper protocol, the files hinted they might still be active. Perhaps this warship isn't the only human asset out there. Neera glanced at the vault's solitary entrance. We need copies of these logs. I'll transfer everything into the module. It'll take a few minutes. Rai nodded. I'll keep watch. If anyone comes, I'll warn you. Selva knelt by the reader, scrolling through a cascade of text that ran deeper than any recorded Imperial history. As she absorbed each entry, a fierce resolve grew within her. We will bring these records before the Council. They need to know we stand on lies and blood. Neera's console emitted a steady hum, transfer at 70%. Suddenly footsteps echoed outside the vault. Rai's head snapped up. Someone's coming. Neera sealed the data module at 85%. Almost done. Hold that door closed. Rai braced himself as the vault door began to slide open. Outside, two security officers, batons drawn, stepped into the corridor. What are you doing down here? One demanded. Selva stepped forward, voice calm but firm. I'm Dr. Selva Imran of the Historical Research Bureau. These records belong to the Bureau. We have valid clearance. The officers exchanged uncertain glances. We received no orders about you, the taller one said. Step aside. Rai squared his shoulders. I suggest you check with the Grand Admiral's office. Our mission is sanctioned. Any interference could be considered treason. The officers hesitated, confusion on their faces. Selva seized the moment. Please allow us to continue. The data is critical to the Empire's safety and future. After a tense pause, the officers lowered their weapons. Very well, the taller one said grudgingly, but no funny business. Selva nodded, thank you. Once they departed, she exhaled. Neera status. 99%, Neera replied, just a few more seconds. The final files slid into the module and the device chimed. Neera pocketed it. We have everything. Rai guided them out of the vault and down the deserted corridor. Overhead lights flickered as distant alarms sounded, a reminder that time was slipping away. As they reached a maintenance hatch leading to the sublevels, Selva turned to her companions. Now we must deliver this to Captain Corrin before the Council's debate concludes. With these records, we can argue for recognition and reparations rather than bloodshed. Nira's lips curved in a determined smile. We'll need every scrap of proof, and we'll need to move fast. Rai placed a reassuring hand on Selva's shoulder. We won't fail. Humanity's story deserves to be heard. Meanwhile, aboard the human warship, Captain Adrian Mercer stood before his command crew, reviewing projected timelines. Through the Ilios's main viewport, the glittering spires of Celestia Prime reflected in the hull's dark surface. Our scouts report increased patrols from the Imperial fleet, said Commander Mela Faust, her tone measured. They suspect a covert mission. Mercer nodded. They should. Our presence has awakened long-buried fears and secrets. Now they hunt for answers as much as we do. Scientist Dr. Rena Cho approached, data pad in hand. Captain, we've intercepted chatter about a vessel called Spectre. It's disguised for stealth. They may attempt infiltration. Mercer's jaw clenched. That must be the team that Corrin dispatched. Let them gather what they will. The more they uncover about Earth's true fate, the faster we can claim justice. Aboard the Spectre, Selva, Rai, and Nira navigated maintenance tunnels to the docking bay, where Corrin awaited their return. Corrin's sharp eyes betrayed her concern as they emerged from the hatch. Dr. Imran, Lieutenant Rai, Engineer Kellen, you made it, she said, voice low but relieved. Did you retrieve the data? Selva held up the archive module. Every record. Now we have proof of the Empire's genocide and the Sleeper Protocol's existence. Corrin studied the module. This changes everything. We must present it immediately to Grand Admiral Rowe and Envoy Vento. But first, get to the Aurora's secure vault. Store these logs where no one can destroy them. Nira saluted, yes, Captain. Rai added, and we should prepare a copy for Envoy Vento's team. They'll need it for negotiations. Corrin nodded, do it. I'll inform Rowe that we'll be ready to speak the moment the Council reconvenes. As the trio departed, Corrin turned back to the warship silhouetted against the planet. She drew in a steady breath. Whispers of Earth had become a roar, but whether that roar heralded war or peace remained to be seen. Captain Livia Corrin stood in the dimly lit docking bay of the Ilios, the human warship's vast hull looming above her like a silent monolith. Beside her, Lieutenant Pavan Rai and Engineer Nira Kellen adjusted their gear beneath the cover of a docking flare. Corrin's heart pounded with a mix of excitement and apprehension. This was the moment she had both feared and hoped for, direct contact with the human crew and a chance to save Celestia Prime from a brewing catastrophe. All teams ready? Corrin asked, her voice steady in the hush. Rai nodded, eyes bright with resolve. Nira checked her portable comm unit one last time. We're green, she confirmed. With a curt nod, Corrin led the way into the human vessel through an open maintenance hatch. The corridor beyond was sleek and unfamiliar, lit by soft blue panels that glowed beneath their boots. The air smelled faintly of ozone and recycled oxygen, much cleaner than Imperial standard. As they advanced, muffled alarms echoed in the distance. Corrin signaled her team to split into two groups. One would secure the bridge, the other would escort her to Captain Adrian Mercer's quarters. They moved with silent efficiency, every step calculated. They reached a reinforced door guarded by two human marines in dark uniforms. Rai raised his hands to show he was unarmed. Captain Corrin of the Imperial frigate Aurora. We come in peace and seek dialogue with Captain Mercer. The marines exchanged glances. One nodded and deactivated the door lock. It slid open with a hiss, revealing a handsome cabin lined with hollow displays. Mercer stood beside a viewport, arms crossed, his silhouette framed against the swirling clouds of Celestia Prime. Captain Corrin, Mercer greeted, his voice calm and measured. I expected your arrival, please come in. Corrin stepped forward, bowing her head slightly. Thank you for granting us this audience, Captain Mercer. I wish to understand your purpose here and perhaps find a way to avert bloodshed. Mercer gestured to a hollow table between them where a three-dimensional projection of Drigan's moon hovered. We did not come to conquer the Empire, he began. We came to reclaim our history and ensure our people's safety, but we have not ignored developments in this sector. Pirate Lord Varos has grown bold, launching raids on nearby colonies. His fleet threatens your worlds as much as ours. Corrin's eyes widened. Varos, we heard rumors of increased pirate activity but believed it opportunistic, not strategic. Varos is testing both our defenses, Mercer said. If we do nothing, he will take advantage of our conflict. We propose a temporary alliance. We combine our forces to neutralize his threat. In exchange, you agree to open formal negotiations about humanity's status in the Empire. Corrin studied the projection. Clusters of red dots marked Varos's raiding ships scattered around Drigan. It's true, she admitted. The orbital defense grid there has been stretched thin. We risk losing control of the supply routes. Rye stepped closer. What level of support do you require? Mercer tapped the projection, zooming in on 3 large pirate frigates escorted by swarms of skirmishers. We have attack craft ready, but we lack detailed coordinates of their hidden staging points. You can provide that intel via your secure network. Together, we can strike effectively and quickly. Nira cleared her throat. We'll need to integrate our comm protocols. Imperial encryption won't match your systems. Mercer nodded. We'll deploy a liaison team to your flagship. Time is critical. Varos's next assault is projected in 50 standard hours. Corrin exchanged a look with Rye and Nira. The decision weighed heavily, but she knew this was the moment to prove that cooperation could triumph over fear. You have our support, she said firmly. I will transmit the coordinates immediately and arrange for your liaison to come aboard the Aurora. We strike at first light. Mercer's expression softened with relief. Thank you, Captain Corrin. Let our unity be a spark of defiance against those who would tear the galaxy apart. Back aboard the Aurora, Corrin convened her bridge crew under Condition Omega. The crew's eyes were drawn to the main viewer, where the studied projection of Varos's fleet rotated slowly. We have an alliance with the Ilios, Corrin announced. Human forces will join ours to eliminate Pirate Lord Varos's threat at Drigan's moon. Comms officer, open a secure channel to Ilios. Lieutenant Rye initiated the link. Mercer's face appeared on the display, flanked by 2 human officers. We're ready, he said, awaiting your signal. Corrin watched the hologram of the pirate positions overlaying the moon's map. All wings, prepare to launch in 10 minutes. Target the frigates first, disable their jump drives, then sweep the smaller skirmishers. On my mark, we engage. A chorus of affirmative responses followed. Corrin clenched her fist in muted excitement. This was more than a battle plan. It was the first tangible proof that humans and Imperials could stand side by side. As the combined fleet approached Drigan's moon, the void before them filled with Varos's ships, dark silhouettes against the planet's glow. The Aurora led the charge, followed by interceptor squadrons launching in tight formations. Behind them, the Ilios unleashed waves of human fighters, their sleek shapes darting through space. The opening salvo erupted in a flash of energy beams and missile trails. Corrin monitored the tactical display as shields flared and frigates rocked with impact. Mercer's voice crackled over the joint comm channel. Focus fire on number 3. Its jump drive must go offline. Corrin directed her ship's batteries alongside the Ilios' heavy cannons. The pirate frigate shuddered as its shields collapsed. Explosion debris trailed into space. Cheers echoed through the Aurora's comm link. But Varos's skirmishers swarmed. They targeted the smaller human craft, raking them with laser fire. Corrin's heart raced. Aurora to Spectre Wing, cover those fighters, put down a railgun barrage on their flank. Nira's voice came through her implant. Frigate 2 is hit, shields at 40%. Hold them, Corrin ordered. We cannot lose momentums. The Aurora banked, its dorsal lasers searing through the pirate swarm, creating lanes for human bombers to swoop through. Rye's voice broke in with excitement. We've disabled the last frigate's drives, prepare boarding shuttles. Corrin allowed herself a grim smile. Excellent. After we clear the perimeter, we send in Marines to secure the staging caves on the moon's surface. The combined assault pressed on. In under 2 hours, Varos's fleet lay in ruins. 1 pirate warship boarded, 2 destroyed, the remainder fleeing in disarray. As the final pirate skirmishers retreated, an eerie silence settled over the battlefield. Corrin exhaled, her pulse still quick. She keyed her comm to Mercer. Well done, Admiral. Varos's threat is neutralized. Mercer's face appeared, relief shining in his eyes. Thank you, Captain Corrin. Your crew fought bravely. Corrin nodded. So did yours. This victory is proof that together we stand stronger than apart. As the Aurora and the Ilios' forces regrouped, Corrin reflected on the spark they had ignited. A single act of cooperation had turned the tide of war against common foes and opened a path toward reconciliation between Empire and humanity. The Empire's future lay not in conquest, but in partnership, and that spark of defiance would soon become a beacon of hope across the galaxy. The quiet calm over Celestia Prime shattered at dawn when alarms blared across the capital. From the planet's surface, citizens watched streaks of fire carve the sky as pirate drones and frigates under Lord Thrace surged toward the starport. Grand Admiral Titus Rowe's fleet, still recovering from the Drigan engagement, scrambled to form defensive lines. On the bridge of the Aurora, Captain Livia Corrin's eyes darted between tactical displays and the view screen, where smoke trails snaked through the atmosphere. Beside her, Commander Mela Faust, the human liaison, monitored Ilios's fighters launching in waves to intercept incoming attackers. Every second counted. Below them, Celestia Station's starport teamed with civilian vessels attempting evacuation. Merchant freighters, passenger liners, and shuttlecraft wove between docking arms under heavy fire. Coriolis turrets on the station's rim flared as they targeted pirate bombers dropping magnetic mines. General Iana Casper's voice crackled over the comm, "Station shields at 60% and falling. We need air cover and electronic jamming now." Corrin keyed her comm panel, "Ilios air wing deploy countermeasures, Aurora vector intercept on those missile boats." Her calm authority cut through panic. In the skies above the city, human fighters in sleek, dart-like craft wove through pirate skimmers with precision. They unleashed chaff and flares that sent missile locks spinning. Imperial interceptors flew in formation with human squadrons, their laser batteries carving holes in enemy hulls. Lieutenant Pavan Rai coordinated the network targeting system, feeding real-time data to both fleets. Engineer Nira Kellen adjusted spectrum filters so Ilios's systems could see through the station's smoke without interference. Together, they formed a seamless shield. On the ground, Governor Alina Drake oversaw troop deployments to protect the starport's perimeter. Her rangers set up portable energy barriers and anti-air cannons at choke points along the main approach roads. Rebel militia groups, previously neutral or hostile to Imperial rule, stepped forward to assist under Corrin's emergency plea. They dug trenches, laid ion disruption nets, and organized civilian volunteers to clear debris and guide evacuees. The sight of former adversaries working side by side inspired hope even as the sky roared with battleback in orbit. The Ilios fired massive bursts of gravitic torpedoes at pirate capital ships emerging from slipstream. Each explosion sent shockwaves through space, scattering debris like fireworks. Mercer stood at the human ship's command console, voice calm, "Target the frigate cluster near the northern ridge. Suppress their jump drives." On the Aurora, Corrin echoed his plan, "Aurora to Spectre wing, focus on drive cores. Disable, don't destroy, minimize debris." Their tactics blended human restraint with Imperial firepower, keeping the battlefield clear for station defenses. Amid the chaos, a squad of pirate bombers broke through the fighter screen and headed directly for the starport's main docking bay. Corrin and Faust watched in horror as streaks of light bore down on civilian ships packed tightly together. Without hesitation, Faust engaged her ship's enhanced ECM pods, jamming the bombers' guidance systems. The pirate craft veered off course, their warheads detonating harmlessly in the upper atmosphere. Cheers erupted on the Aurora's bridge as civilians cheered below. Miles away on the station's lower level, Nira coordinated power reroutes to damaged shield generators. Sparks flew as maintenance droids replaced compromised conduits. Her voice on the comm, "Shields restored to 80%, we're holding." Rai relayed the update to Corrin, who then informed Ro. The Grand Admiral acknowledged with a rare note of relief, "Excellent work. Maintain pressure on Thrace's fleet. We push them back." As pirate ships began to falter under the unstoppable alliance, Thrace's flagship, the Black Corsair, attempted a last-ditch hyperspace jump. Mercer's crew locked on with a coordinated ion volley that crippled its drives. The Corsair spun helplessly before inertial dampeners failed. Imperial boarding shuttles, escorted by human marines, descended upon the crippled vessel. Aboard, they found Thrace's crew stunned, their reign of terror ended in defeat. By midday, the assault had been repelled. Flaming wreckage drifted above Celestia Prime like so many fallen stars. The combined forces of Empire and humanity held the field. On the Aurora's bridge, Corrin exhaled deeply as she surveyed the aftermath. Faust placed a hand on her shoulder. "We did it together," she said softly. Corrin nodded, eyes misting at the sight of the battered starport below where civilians cheered the fighters overhead. "Yes," she replied. "Today we proved that unity is stronger than fear." In that moment, the Empire's walls of distrust cracked, and a new bond formed in the fires of shared sacrifice. The siege of Celestia Prime would be remembered not as a day of destruction, but as the dawn of a lasting alliance between two peoples once thought enemies. Grand Admiral Titus Rowe paced the polished deck of the Ilios' diplomatic chamber, the vastness of Celestia Prime's atmosphere rippling beyond the thick viewport. Beside him, Envoy Silas Vento studied the treaty drafts projected in midair, his brow furrowed. Moments ago, Captain Adrian Mercer had arrived with Captain Livia Corrin and Dr. Selva Imran, each bearing records of Imperial crimes and the promise of a new future. Now the true test began. Could two civilizations, once locked in war and betrayal, forge a lasting peace? Rowe settled into a low swivel chair. We stand at history's crossroads, he said quietly. The Emperor's legacy demands order, yet these documents. He tapped the hollow scroll of archival entries showing Operation Purify, Sleeper Protocol, and buried orders of genocide. They demand accountability. Vento nodded. Our people will not accept a superficial truce. They seek truth, they seek restitution, but we must also ensure stability across the sector. The pirates may be gone, but threats remain. Corin stepped forward, her posture firm. We have neutralized immediate dangers together. Now we must address deeper wounds. The records Dr. Imran retrieved prove the Empire's darkest actions. Humanity has the right to demand apologies and reparations. Mercer's expression was calm yet resolute. And we have demonstrated our willingness to work alongside you. We could have leveled Celestia Prime, but we chose cooperation. Now we ask the Empire to acknowledge our survival and our rights. Dr. Selva Imran, her voice steady, added, My research shows that human descendants now live among you unknowingly. Some of your citizens are sleeper agents, raised to believe they were imperial from birth. This revelation shakes the very foundations of your society. Rowe inhaled deeply, recalling Captain Arya Nix's awakening sequence and the tumult that had followed. I will not deny these facts, but some in the High Court will resist. They fear change more than they fear conflict. Vento's bioluminescent patterns pulsed softly. We must present a balanced proposal, acknowledgement of past wrongs, integration of awakened humans, and a framework for shared governance in key sectors. Corin raised a hand to the treaty text. Article 1, a formal apology from the Imperial Council for the attempted genocide of humanity. Article 2, legal restoration of Earth's territory and recognition of human sovereignty there. Article 3, full rights and citizenship for awakened human citizens across the Empire. Article 4, joint technological and cultural exchanges. Article 5, a mutual defense pact against external threats. Mercer tapped the final clause into the draft. Article 6, establishment of a Galactic Commission to oversee reparations and reconciliation efforts with equal representation from human and Imperial delegates. Rowe studied the list. His silver eyes reflected the weight of each article. These terms are just, he said at last, but they challenge centuries of doctrine. The High Court may balk at giving away sovereignty. Vento stepped beside him. We anticipated this. We can include a transitional period, 5 standard years where humans and Imperials co-govern disputed regions with arbitration panels resolving conflicts. Afterward, permanent structures will be in place. Dr. Imran's face softened. This compromise respects the Empire's need for order while honoring human dignity. Corin agreed. It also ensures no power vacuum emerges. We move forward together, not in chaos. Mercer inclined his head. Once the treaty is ratified, we can focus on rebuilding decimated worlds, improving trade routes, and exchanging medical advances. Our people can learn from each other. Rowe rose from his chair, a gesture of resolve. Then let us present this to the Grand Conclave, but we must proceed carefully. I will notify Grand Arbiter Excel of our agreement in principle and request an emergency session. As Rowe prepared his comm link, Vento turned to Corin and Mercer. This moment defines the future. If we succeed, we avert another century of conflict. If we fail, we risk renewed war. Corin gripped Mercer's shoulder. We will succeed. Today we proved cooperation saves lives. Tomorrow we prove it can heal souls. Hours later, the Grand Conclave assembled on Celestia Station under intense scrutiny. Ambassadors from every member system filled the vast hall, their varied forms crowding the tiers. At the center, Grand Arbiter Excel stood flanked by Rowe, Vento, Corin, and Mercer. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation and wariness. Excel's Avon plumage flared as he raised a wing for silence. We convene under unprecedented circumstances. A human vessel has stood in our orbit, our past has been laid bare, and together we have forged a treaty proposal. Now we must decide, embrace this path or return to war. Voices erupted immediately. Some delegates demanded retribution, bomb the Ilios, purge corrupted officials, tighten security. Others, recalling the victory at Drigan and Celestia Prime, argued for dialogue and reform. The hall trembled with conflicting passions. Vento activated the hollow projection of the treaty. Streams of light traced each article across the chamber. Honored delegates, he began, voice carrying over the din, we bring you not conquest but collaboration. This document offers accountability, restitution, and a shared future. It asks for courage to admit our faults and wisdom to bind our fates together. A hush fell as delegates absorbed each article's implications. Some shifted uncomfortably, others nodded in solemn agreement. Dr. Imran, standing with Corin, observed quietly, her heart pounding as centuries of secrecy faced the light. Mercer addressed the conclave in fluent imperial standard. We too have scars. We lost billions. We do not seek subjugation of this empire, but reconciliation. Imagine what we can achieve when human ingenuity and imperial discipline combine. A powerful moment of silence followed. Excel's gaze swept across the assembly. You have heard our case. Let us vote on the articles one by one. As the vote began, tension mounted. Each delegate cast their decision via hollow podium. For Article 1, formal apology approval was narrow, but it passed. Article 2, restoration of Earth's territory, elicited impassioned debate yet also secured enough support. By the vote on Article 6, Galactic Commission, the chamber stood divided, but the measure passed by a single margin. When the final tally appeared, Excel lowered his wings. The conclave has spoken. Let this dawn of reckoning mark the beginning of our new era. Cheers and tears mingled across the hall. Rowe exhaled in relief, Corin's eyes shone with hope, and Mercer allowed himself a small, genuine smile. Outside, Celestia Prime's blue horizon stretched endless, a canvas upon which two civilizations would now paint their shared destiny. And as the Ilios's hull glinted in the sun's rays, both humans and Imperials felt the promise of tomorrow. Not one of conquest, but of unity born from truth.